Hey guys, it's Verena here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today I am very excited to be bringing you the second week of the Scream for Romance challenge that I'm hosting with some friends on Bookstagram. Today's challenge is to talk about serial killers, psychopaths, and stalkers. So I'm very excited. A lot of these actually kind of fit into all three prompts, but I'm very excited about this. So let's go ahead and get started. I also want to preface this by saying I'm still kind of getting over everything that I have been going through. So I'm sorry if my voice sounds very strange still. I am on day 6 of like recovering, but when you guys see this, it'll have been like a week or so. I do have my drink right here. I just have more energy drink to drink. So if you guys see me take a drink, I'm sorry. But I did want to warn y'all that I am still getting over being sick. But I have all the energy to film these videos today, so we're gonna make it work. Alright, so first up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a duet that legit everybody is talking about. Everybody reads her books. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. I'm talking about There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. Y'all, I mean, you can't make a video like this without mentioning Sophie Lark at any point, because this duet is like literally perfection. It fits all three prompts and it is the perfect recommendation. In my opinion, it is not extremely dark. Obviously, let me preface this by saying before I get into all of the recommendations, because I am talking about dark romance, in my opinion, all dark romance has some kind of trigger of some sort or some kind of content warning, whatever. So I really encourage you that, yes, I am talking about all these books that I recommend and love. But please, if you do have any triggers, please go research, go on Goodreads, look at authors' bios, go to their websites, see what triggers are listed. I will try my best to list as many as I can, but I have horrible memory. I'm just going to warn you guys now, if you don't know that about me, I have terrible memory, and there's no possible way I can list every single trigger warning that there is in a book. A good place to start would definitely be Goodreads, because a lot of readers will post in their review of all the different triggers. But another great place that you can go is definitely the author website. A lot of authors are really good about posting an extensive list of all of the triggers that are going to fall into that book or whatever. So first book, like I said, is There Is No Saints by Sophie Lark. I absolutely adored it. It follows Cole, who is he is an interesting character. He is an artist. He builds sculptures, not your typical sculptures. Let's just say he uses different pieces to build his sculptures. Like I said, this fits into serial killer, psychopath, and stalker. Her name is Mara and is about Cole. He is obviously a serial killer, that's a given, but he's also obsessed with her. And she actually has a stalker of her own. I'm gonna leave it at that, but he will do anything to protect her. So that's all I'm gonna say about that book. Next book is another book that is highly recommended, and it is Dead Men Walking by Gianna Darling. This is the 6th book in the Follow Men series, and in my opinion, probably one of the darker in the series. This is definitely, I think, the longest in the series, and this obviously follows Priest, and I always forget the heroine's name. Oh, Bea. I think it's Bea. B-E-A. Bea. Y'all, I'm so bad with pronunciations. Anyway, this is the 6th book in the series. He is I guess he's like the hitman in the club. This is a biker romance. This does follow, like I said, this is book 6 in the series. I would definitely read the series in order, just because there is just so much backstory to this. You could technically probably read it as a standalone, but if I were you, I would read in order, just because there's so much backstory that happens that it'll just make this more enjoyable in my opinion. So I would definitely read the first 5 and then jump into this one, but if you don't care, then jump into it. Like I said, definitely check up the content warnings for this one, triggers, all of that. He is a very interesting character. I'm always gravitated to the really damaged characters. He definitely has a kink of blood play. So definitely know that this does involve blood play, which kind of makes this book stand out in the series. This is actually my second favorite in the series, but I really enjoyed this one. Oh, and I did forget to mention that Dead Man Walking does fall in both the psychopath and the serial killer. So it follows under psychopath and serial killers instead of stalkers. So there's really no stalking in this one. Next up, we have Vow of Deception by Rena Kent. This is strictly just a psychopath. It's very loosely a psychopath, but I felt that this one was really good to add to this list. This is a trilogy. It is one that follows the same couple. It is one that leaves on a cliffhanger on every single book. So please know that you're going to need all 3 books to get through this series. I completely devoured this trilogy. I think I read it last year, maybe the year before. I don't remember. But y'all, it is so freaking good. It follows a character named Adrian who is in, I think, the Russian mafia, I think. I just know he's definitely in the mafia. I just can't remember. I think it's Russian. Anyway, and we have our heroine, which, again, I don't remember her name. Her name is Winter, and he basically kidnaps her. It basically says, I need you to be my dead wife and act like her, because they're basically doppelgangers. And she's like, no. But she pretends to be his wife, and there are so many plot twists, so many things that are revealed through this trilogy. Y'all, it is bonkers, insane. It is so good. I think about this trilogy all the time. I am obsessed with it. I highly recommend that you read this trilogy, but definitely carve out a weekend where you can binge this, because you're gonna want to. Like, I'm not joking. You know, I can't make a recommendation list with Stalker in it and not talk about Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. It more so falls under the psychopath and obviously stalker, because that's literally the whole premise to the story. This is a duet, so this is book 1. Book 2 is called Hunting Adeline. It's just as thick, so y'all, this is a commitment, but when I tell y'all, it's worth it, I promise you. So basically, we are following, obviously, Adeline, who discovers that she has a stalker, and that's where our hero comes in. His name is Zaid, and he is a stalker. Like, he literally will not leave her alone. He is basically always there watching her from the shadows. It's very creepy, but she's actually discovering things about her family's past that is starting to make this situation seem very strange and off. Like, things are starting to basically repeat themselves, and things start happening. Obviously, with how chunky these books are, there's a lot happening. In my opinion, book 2 is more darker. There are more content warnings, triggers. There's just a lot more happening. That one has captivity in it. She is taken, and it's just absolutely insane. Like I said, I think book 2 is actually darker, and in my opinion, I actually liked it better than this one. It was like more higher stakes, and I was just more invested in it. Either way, this duet is just absolutely amazing, and I couldn't make a recommendation list without talking about literally the definition of this genre or trope. Next up, I have I don't even know what it's called. I think it's the Born Darkly duet by Trisha Wolfe. I recently read this in audiobook form, and y'all, it's so good. It basically follows this therapist of a serial killer. I could not tell y'all their names, but basically this guy is on death row because he is a serial killer that has, brutally killed all these people, whatever. They're saying he's guilty. And this therapist is like, you know what, let me go talk to him. She is very well known for talking to all of these serial killers and kind of understanding their point of view. However, it turns into obviously a love story between the two, and it is just a very interesting dynamic between the two. And there were so many plot twists that I wasn't expecting. I didn't know I knew going in that this was a therapist and serial killer, but I didn't know just like what was going to happen. Like I said, there's so many twists in this duet. This definitely obviously fits a serial killer prompt, also fits a psychopath. Like I said, y'all, this duet is so worth the read. Please go read it if you haven't read it already. I definitely recommend the audiobook if you would like to listen to them, but they're super good. Next one, I have a series that is still currently being written. Book 3 actually just released like recently. So book 1 is called The Never King, and this is going to be, I believe, 4 books. Book 3, like I said, just came out, and this is basically a dark retelling of Peter Pan, but following like the Lost Boys and all of that. Our character comes from the Darling family. I can't remember if she is Wendy or if she's had family members that were Wendy, but basically she is a Darling, like Wendy Darling. And it follows how she kind of like uncovers all of these secrets about the family and the Lost Boys and Peter Pan. And it is extremely dark. I will say that. Please check up triggers, because this one, like I said, it's pretty dark. It is a Why Choose, which if you didn't know this, I talked about it in a previous video. Reverse harem has now been kind of renamed to Why Choose for many different reasons. If you do not know why, please go ahead and research why. This is not the video to talk about why they renamed it, but I would definitely go look into why it's now called Why Choose. We follow many different men. I think there's 3, including Peter Pan, or maybe there's 4, I can't remember. Okay, it is 4. So it follows twins Bash and Kaz, and Vane, and then obviously Peter Pan. Y'all, when I'm not kidding, those twins, they're crazy. And then you have Vane, who is like questionable, like, oh, okay. So like I said, please definitely look into this book, because like I said, it is extremely dark, but it is so good. I still need to read book 3. I just haven't had a chance to pick it up. I don't know if I want to wait until book 4 releases, because I am a reader who needs to have all the books published, but I decided I was going to be crazy and wait out the publication dates. I don't know why, so I don't know if I'm going to wait until book 4 releases. I can't remember when that release date is, but I definitely recommend this one. It does follow under the psychopath trope. And then my last one that is specifically falls under the psychopath is going to be Souls Unfractured by Tilly Cole. This is the 3rd book in the Hades Hangman series, and in my opinion, probably one of the more darker, more sensitive, I guess, books in the series. It follows Flame, who is, they call him one of the, I think it's the Chaos Trio or something. It's been so long since I've read the series, but basically he is one of those like crazy characters, but there's a reason why he acts the way he does, because of his past and his story, and you obviously get to see why he is such a psychopath character. And in my opinion, this is probably one of my favorite in the series. I absolutely love Flame. I don't know what it is about his character, but y'all, literally a moth to a flame. Like, a bad pun, but seriously, y'all, this series, if you haven't read the Hades Hangman series, it is seriously hands down one of my all-time favorite series, like top favorites. I cannot gush about the series enough. It does follow Flame and Maddie. Like I said, she is a character that you get to meet in book 1. I'm not going to go into too much detail, because I really want you, if you haven't read the series, I want you to like get the full effect of the series, because there's so many plot twists, and I just don't want to spoil anything, because there's so much that happens in the series. But it does follow their story and how they kind of overcome all of those challenges that they have faced, and how they can make a relationship work considering everything that's happened to them. But y'all, this story is so good. Y'all need to go read it. Next book that follows under the serial killer only is going to be Ghostface Killer by M. Never. Now, the reason why I'm going to recommend this one, and why this one is so unique out of the serial killer trope, I guess, is because it's actually the heroine that is a serial killer. And again, I read this book years ago, and I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. I probably have to look it up. Okay, so the main character's name is Stevie, and basically she has been a serial killer for a very long time. It's kind of like her job to go kill all these people. She does work for this like place that tells her who to go kill, but we follow her from a very early age up until she's an adult. And on her next mission or whatever, the guy that she's supposed to kill basically knocks her down, and she turns up months later and she's now actually pregnant, and things kind of spiral out of control from there. But y'all, this book is so good. If you are looking for an audiobook recommendation, I would definitely listen to this book because the audiobook is amazing. So definitely go check out this book. Okay, so I have 2 more books to talk about today. There's one book that I did feature in my Instagram post. So if you are coming from my Instagram post, there is one book that I will not talk about just because I'm still trying to understand everything that is going on with one author in particular. So I don't want to give a recommendation if it's an author I no longer support. So I don't want to mention this author without fully doing enough research. So I'm not even going to talk about that book. If you are not sure what the book is and you're curious, you can go look at my Instagram post because it's a series that I do talk about pretty frequently. So I'm just not going to talk about it in this video because when I took the picture of that book, I didn't really fully understand everything going on, so I'm still in the process of researching and understanding exactly what happened. But anyway, next up we have Reaper by A. Zavarelli. This is book 2 in the Boston Underworld series, and y'all, I am not joking. If you get another series recommendation from me, the Boston Underworld is probably like my second all-time favorite series. Specifically this book. This is book 2, and it follows Reaper is... I mean, if you think about it, what is, like, literally the Reaper, like the Grim Reaper? That is this character. So this is obviously a mafia series, and he is the one that has to go kill everybody. And he is very gruesome. It is pretty, not violent, it's just very graphic. So please know that it does have on-page scenes of him killing some of the people. And when I say, y'all, I love this book to absolute pieces. Like I said, Reaper is my favorite in the series. I think there's 5 or 6 books. I never remember the total number. It is loosely a stalker romance, but I felt it was still a pretty good book to add to the list because, like I said, this is one of my all-time favorite series. I read this book in, I think, 2017, so it's been about 5 years since I have read this book. But y'all, it is one that, even though it's been 5 years, I still think about this book. Like, that's how much of an impression this book has made on me. This follows Sasha, and I did forget to say this does follow the Irish mob. I don't think I said that, but this is the Irish mafia, and Ronan, aka Reaper, he is extremely overprotective. So also, if you love that kind of stuff, you will love him like I do. He is my absolute favorite. He will do anything and everything to protect her. And obviously things happen, which makes sense. It's a mafia. But y'all, this book is so good. So good. So good. The last book I have to recommend is one that kind of stands out from the crowd, in my opinion. It is a stalker romance. It is called Stalked by the Kraken by Lillian Lark. This is a unique book. I read it this summer. It is a monster romance, obviously, and it follows our heroine as she goes into this, like, they call it like a bathing house or whatever, and her job is to work with this kraken. And I was very, not necessarily hesitant, but I guess I could say nervous to read this book because y'all, if you don't know about me, I am a huge Disney nerd. Literally, it owns half of my heart. Like, I love Disney. So when I think about a kraken, I think of Pirates of the Caribbean with that giant kraken. Obviously the kraken in this book does not look like that. It follows our character as she goes into this. Obviously, it kind of has like paranormal elements to it also because this involves witches and that kind of aspect to it. But our hero obviously is a kraken, and he isn't always in his like kraken form. He can actually be a human and then turn into a kraken, which I thought was kind of cool. So it kind of is like a shape shifter if you want to think about it that way. If you want a book that doesn't have like super strong stalking elements like Hunting Adeline, for example, or Haunting Adeline, for example, this one is a really good book to pick up if you just want something completely different, because it's not very heavy on the stalking aspect. It is pretty light. It mostly just happens in the book because she's just trying to figure out who he is, and it becomes kind of a stalking situation. But y'all, it is so good. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video because I'm starting to lose my voice, and there's other videos that I would like to get out of the way as well. If you guys have any recommendations of books that I did not talk about in this video, please leave them down below. Let me know if you've read any of these books because I am very curious. I hope I did decent descriptions of these books. I'm sorry some of them were really vague. It's been a couple years since I've read these, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.